Yo, what is up, everybody? It's your boy, Black One, up in the building. Just got done donating some blood, some plasma. It's always good to do that. Goes towards a good cause, and they pay you for it. So, it's a win-win all around. I am doing a special edition of the Air Out. It's always good to do that. It goes towards a good cause, and they pay you for it. Sorry. So, had to go away for a hot second. Okay, we back. So, I had to do a special edition of the Air Out, which is my streaming show every Monday night at 10 o'clock on Star Trek TV. But we're doing a special live report right here, right now, because while I was giving blood, it turned out that Eminem's album, Revival, his highly anticipated album, has leaked. So I immediately downloaded the album and listened to it while I was giving blood, and listened to the whole thing. And now I'm here with my first initial reactions. I'm trying to be ahead of the curve before everybody else, because that's how we do this shit. So, I don't really know where to begin with this album. This is my first initial reaction, listening to it from front to back. Not like really analyzing it, just kind of just giving it a listen. Lyrically, Eminem spits some of his dopest shit of his career. I think that he has a very focused flow in a lot of the songs. He has some pretty cool content, and he says some pretty cool things in cool ways. I think it's undeniable that Eminem is one of the best rappers of all time when it comes to spitting bars. And Eminem does that. The song Chloroseptic featuring Fresher is a really dope song. I like the concept of it. I like how he approaches the song. He even kind of switches up the flow and kind of does like a little bit of shit on there. I dig it overall. But that's probably my favorite song on the track on the album besides I believe it's called Castle. Castle actually is a letter written to his daughter Haley, basically apologizing for his relationship with her mom, I should say, apologizing for having her in the spotlight and kind of just not being there for her in general. It's actually arguably one of Eminem's most compelling songs of his career. I actually got chills listening to this song. I was like, oh man, this is actually a really good song. I feel this. Especially as a starving artist with a child, I resonate with that song heavy. One of his best songs ever. But when listening to the entire album and that song came up, that was easily the first time in the entire album I was like, oh man, this song's really dope. The rest of the songs are just kind of like, it seems that Eminem has just gone ahead and accepted his white savior hip-hop role in hip-hop, in the sense that like, this dude has so many fucking pop songs on here, it's not even funny. He has tracks with Alicia Keys, he's got tracks with Ed Sheeran, he's got tracks with Pink, Skylar Grey, Beyonce, and basically this dude just made the same song 10 different times in 10 different ways. There's this one song called Bad Husbands that has Ex Ambassadors on there. And that's the only song from the other songs where he kind of like actually dives into some cool content that's different from the rest. We talk about being a bad husband to Kim, and talks about how he should have been better for her, a better father, and how he's a good father but a bad husband. Cool song. But when you compare it to the other songs on there, it's the same old shit of Eminem just rapping over these like stadium status, glorious pop beats, and it has these females on here singing these very well written hooks, very polished material, but there's no substance in the tracks. And when I say that, I mean that Eminem pretty much copy and paste his content in all these songs. So the song with Pink, for example, I forget what the fuck it's called. I don't have the playlist in front of me. I should bring up the track list so I can actually reference these songs properly. But the song with Pink, I think it's called Need Me. It is basically him complaining about people sleeping on him and people hating on his flow and how he's past his prime, etc. and so forth. And it doesn't really resonate with me because it's like, dude, you said that on the first track of the album. And you said it on the 5th track of the album. And you said it on the 9th track of the album. And you said it on the 11th track of the album. Basically, my point is that this dude says the same fucking shit every fucking time in this album about how people be sleeping on him, about how he's past his prime and he has all this doubt and all this worry, and that seems to be the overall theme of the album, which is cool. But it gets pretty heavy-handed after a while because you get to the point where you're just like, oh man, we get it. Why don't you prove me wrong and rap about something else other than your woes and your problems? And on Castle, he does that. And that's why when Castle came up, I'm like, man, I really wish that you would have fucking did this for the whole album because this song is fantastic. Castle's a fantastic song. The beat is great. The flow is great. The content is fantastic. A Rose is a cool song, too. A Rose is the last song on the album. I don't really like the beat as much, but the concept is basically that he's dead, or he's on his deathbed, and his family's visiting him, and the doctors are saying he's not going to make it, etc., so forth, and, he's about to die. So it's pretty much like his eulogy. The last two songs are really, really cool. But what's another thing that's interesting about this album is that there's a very strong political theme kind of woven throughout the album. Songs like Untouchable, Offended, was it Framed? I think I have to go back and listen to it. But there's a lot of political themes throughout the album, and I'm cool with that. Before I was kind of nervous because I was like, I don't necessarily want to hear about Eminem rapping about the plight of the black man in America because he's not black. But he does a good job with the material. I think that he makes you think without necessarily being too preachy. But at the same time, this is the most interesting thing about this album so far. All these stadium status songs that he has, and this, if I sound racist, please let me know when I say this. But all these stadium status songs and all these rock songs, there's a lot of rock samples. Dude samples I love rock and roll. Samples that song on the album. There's like two others rock, like straight up just like rock beats where he's rapping over it. And then he has these stadium status songs with all these big names. They really kind of cater to white people. And that's the interesting thing about it because it's like you're making this album that caters to white people. But at the same time, you're kind of shitting on white people throughout the album. I think it's kind of funny because like he calls himself out for not being more proactive in the racial tension in this world, or in America, I should say. And then like the very next song is like some bullshit that only white girls are gonna listen to. So it's kind of like, are you doing that on purpose because you know that they're gonna be listening to this album that you're trying to sneak in the jabs, or are you just kind of doing the bipolar thing? It's not very clear. I think that overall though, the album, I don't know, I'm gonna have to give it another listen before I give it like an official score. But based off my initial reactions, I would give it like a 3 out of 5. I think that there's way too many stadium songs on here. There's a couple of trap beats on here. Like the track Believe is cool. Chorus Septic's tight. Offended's a dope track. Except the chorus on Offended is fucking horrible. I will say that. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking on that track, Offended, but the chorus is just trash. And you might disagree with me. There's a couple of choruses on this album overall that are just... Sorry. But compared to his last album, I think I might listen to this a little bit more, maybe. It doesn't have any songs that hit me hard besides the song Castle. His last album had a few songs that hit me really hard, like Legacy and the track I can't think of the fucking name of it. Legacy, and then I can't remember the name of it. Point is, his last album had a few songs that really resonated with me, but this album doesn't. There's like a disconnect there, and I have to give it another listen. And I'm one of Eminem's biggest fans, so I'm not just like saying this shit because I'm a hater. I fuck with Eminem heavy. I'm just saying that I feel like there's just something not quite connecting there. So that's why I say a 3 out of 5. I'll probably give an actual written review on my blog later this week when the actual album drops. But yeah, man, it's worth a listen. I will say that. I would give it a listen and formulate your own opinions, because some of you dudes like that stadium status shit. Just big, grandiose hooks and large sounds, and that's stadium status music for those of you who don't know what that phrase is. But the whole album, like half this album is like mostly stadium status type music that you play on tour, that you play and you get that white people money. Eminem's getting that white people money on this album. You're gonna hear at least 3 or 4 or 5 of these songs on the radio for the rest of the fucking 2018. That's guaranteed. So go get your money, Eminem. Because the Ed Sheeran song is actually not bad. It's probably the most accessible song on the album. For me being a hip hop head, that kind of dabbles in the hip hop stadium status shit. The song is good. So that's gonna end up probably being the single too, guaranteed. If he decides to not. If he decides to get off the fucking political bullshit, which is interesting because you think about the single choices on this album so far. We've gotten Walk on Water, we've gotten Untouchable, and I really think that the labels were kind of taking advantage of Untouchable a little bit in the current social climate and the current ambiance is going on in America with the racial tension. I don't think that song should have been a single. I think that the labels made him make that a single. But we'll find out. I mean, the album comes out officially on Friday. We'll probably be seeing a bunch of rap videos. But that's my initial reaction to Eminem's Revival, which has leaked online now. You can probably find it if you're savvy enough. This has been the Air Out special edition. Catch us every Monday night at 10 o'clock right here on Star Trek TV. This is your boy Black One. Leave your comments in the thread. Once you watch this video, leave your comments in the thread. Give me your thoughts, give me your opinions on Eminem's album, and we'll talk about it on next week's show. Because next week we're talking about the album. We talk about Star Wars. I'm going to try and go see it this weekend. And other dope shit. So, stay woke. The Air Out. Peace, bitches. Woo!